Well, winter is here, and it's a great time to be somewhere warm, anywhere. Here were some of the hottest deals of the winter season, plus a recap of his recent trip to Cuba. Ladies and gentlemen from Thrifty Traveler, give it up for Jared, everybody.
Hey,
Welcome
thanks
back.
for having me back, Jason.
Cuba, huh?
Cuba.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, is it, the travel restrictions were lifted, and then they were kind of put back on a little bit. What do people need to know if they are interested? Here's the bottom line question. Can we still go as Americans?
Cuba is open for business.
Okay.
The U.S. government kind of makes you think that it's not, but it definitely is. So, like, the easiest thing is, you can fly Delta, you can fly American, you can fly JetBlue, you can fly any U.S. airline into Havana. And the only thing you need to do is choose one of the categories of allowed travel. And the one we suggest is support for the Cuban people, which is incredibly vague. But essentially what you need to do is...
But it's a real category.
It is a real category,
yeah.
It's not made up. It sounds made up. So what you need to do is essentially go on, like, Airbnb experiences or tours for, like, cultural things. Like learning how to dance or learning how to maybe drink rum or smoke cigars.
Which of those three did you perfect while you were there?
I did do a tour on how to drink rum and smoke cigars. And I learned some valuable... It was a valuable cultural exchange.
Personally, for me, because you're a friend of mine, I was really hoping you took dance lessons. I really wanted to see you do some.
I don't need any lessons.
No,
I'm a natural, That's another segment.
That's a whole other. What surprised you the most? You land, you get off the plane. What's your first impression?
Just how short the flight is. Because if you think about, there's only 90 miles in between, Key West and Havana. So it's super easy. If you think about if you're going to a tropical destination, it's actually the closest.
Yeah. But the environment, what struck you? What was it? The buildings, the kindness of the people. We're looking at some pictures, by the way. What stuck out to you?
Yeah, I think the juxtaposition of some of the decaying infrastructure of these amazing, incredible buildings that were built in the early 1900s. And then those amazing, 1950s, 1960s U.S. cars.
Because that's all they have.
That's all they have because of the embargo. Yeah.
It's Jay Leno's dream.
It is. It is. And they're incredible. And they're like really strange vehicles because it'll be like obviously a 1960s U.S. vehicle, but it'll have like a Mercedes or a Soviet engine in it. So it's these like Frankenstein vehicles.
Now, as far as boarding, are there hotels like the Sheraton and the Hilton? Where do you stay? How does it work in Cuba?
Right. So the big thing is there's two things you need to avoid. State-owned hotels, so the Cuban government owns them, which are all the big name hotels. So what we recommend is staying in an Airbnb, and there's tons of them, and they're owned by like Cuban people, which is really cool.
So that's fascinating. So the actual hotels, though it says Hilton, Sheraton, it's owned by the government.
51% owned by the Cuban government. So that is one of the big rules. So the two things you need to avoid is those state-run hotels, essentially any hotel, and then state-run restaurants. So if you think about a government-run restaurant, generally not the best.
No.
So if you go to TripAdvisor and you look at the top restaurants, none of them are going to be government-run or state-sponsored ones, and they're all going to be privately owned, and those are the good ones you can go to.
Talk to me about the people. Warm. I've had several friends go, and that's one of the first three things they say is the warmness of the people.
Yeah, they love to learn more about the U.S. They have the internet now. They know what's going on. They have a great education system. They have great health care. I think one of our Airbnb hosts said it best, when talking about the U.S. government and the Cuban government, just because our parents don't get along doesn't mean we can't be friends.
I love it.
Yeah.
More with Jared when we come back. Back in a moment, everybody. Hot travel deal. Don't go anywhere. I love that. Welcome back, my friends. More with Jared from Thrifty Traveler. More with Jared from Thrifty Traveler. Let's do some deals, my friend.
All right. So, when we talk about these deals, like you can go to thriftytraveler.com to find them or use Google Flights to search. And I know I say this every single time.
No, but it bears
so
repeating.
Important.
Yes.
All right. So these are all out of MSP. Most of them are nonstop on Delta through this winter and spring. So Minneapolis to Denver, $96 round trip. Nashville, $136. Phoenix, $156. Las Vegas, $140. Los Angeles, which has been super expensive.
It's very expensive.
$184 if you're flexible on your dates. So a lot of these, going Wednesday to Saturday, if you want to go Friday, Friday to Sunday, not going to work.
No.
If you can be flexible with your dates. Other ones, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Fort Myers, all under $200 winter through spring. And one that's not normally cheap, Portland, $196 nonstop on Delta this winter. All right, two that are I think they're amazing deals. Nonstop Delta to Aruba for $397. This is normally like $600 to $700.
Oh, wow.
And Costa Rica, also $600 to $700. Normally it's $403 nonstop round trip on several dates.
That is really cheap.
That is a really, really cheap deal. It doesn't come around often. Obviously, go to thriftytraveler.com or use Google Flights to search.
Perfect. Yeah. Now, as always, and then you have some deals too for Thrifty Traveler Premium, right?
Yeah, so Thrifty Traveler Premium, which is our flight deal, international flight deal subscription service. If you go to thriftytraveler.com and you gift it to someone, you can even gift it to yourself.
Yeah.
We have $5 off, so that's $40. And then we have our new service, Thrifty Traveler University, which just came out last month, which is our online video course all about how to travel on the cheap.
Yeah,
so 16 videos.
I've been to one of the courses, and you got to go if you want to save some money on travel. Yeah.
We got that as well.
Okay, let's get to some questions, y'all. Y'all posted some questions on Facebook. First up, Jenna. Hey, Jenna. Says, I have travel miles anxiety. I don't want to waste them. How do I know I'm getting a good deal with my miles?
All right, so Jenna, what it sounds like is what we call points paralysis, where you're like, I'm not going to use my points unless I know I'm getting an absolutely amazing deal.
Yeah.
And the big thing with points and miles, earn them and then burn them, because just take a trip that you normally couldn't afford. That's the best use of your miles.
And don't be afraid to use them.
No, don't be afraid to use them.
You have them. Thank you, Jenna Orcutt there. Next, Jake asks, what are some up-and-coming travel destinations that will be popular in 2020?
So, a lot of Europe is just so incredibly cheap. We have that new nonstop route to Dublin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredibly popular. Minneapolis is going to be getting a nonstop route to Shanghai, China, which is going to be really cool in 2020.
I can go to Shanghai Disneyland.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. So, those are a lot of the really popular ones. The Middle East is becoming a little bit more popular with kind of like some of the issues in the Middle East kind of dying down. So Jordan's become incredibly popular. I was just there with my wife last month.
Yes, you were.
Going to Petra, incredible experience. So
if you ever want to feel bad about your life, go ahead and follow Jared on Instagram, because when you see the pictures and you see the first class accommodations that this dude gets, it will make you cry.
Using points and miles.
Using points and miles.
Using points and miles.
I know, but I love this guy. We're actual friends, but I look at sometimes and I'm like, I hate you. Finally, Cindy wants to know, hi, it's Cindy Johnson wants to know, what's the worst travel experience you've ever had, Jared? That's a good question, Cindy Johnson.
And Jason, you already know about it. So we went to Vietnam, and Vietnam is a wonderful country, but I got a bad bug. And I lost 15 pounds, and I don't have 15 pounds to lose.
No, I don't know where it came from, but
So that's just we talked about it. Travel isn't always sunshine and rainbows, and traveling to third world countries, sometimes you're just gonna get sick, and that's just the way it is.
How long did it last again?
It lasted too long.
Yeah,
it lasted over a week.
Yeah, and he came back. I remember the first segment that you came back, and Jared was literally like that big. I mean, it was like, seriously, I felt so bad for you.
It was a good diet.
That's right. Give it up for Jared, everybody, for more information. Head to thriftytraveler.com.